So you have the 411 now?
I have the 411 on the 411 as we promised the listening audience.
Counter to intelligence.
Welcome to Counter to Intelligence. I am Ken, and with me is my forever friend.
Oh, that's me. Tom, the
Yeah,
old skeptic, not even sure if I'm here. We'll see how it goes.
yeah. Look at that. I'm always like messing you up by your introducing you different ways, and you don't know how to handle it. You
I don't even
don't.
know how to do it. I'm working on my improv skills. They're coming up. They're coming up.
Yeah, yeah. So this week we are going to dive into it's called the missing 411 theory. And it I in conspiracy world, it's kind of a well-known theory that's been around a while. Well, I mean, not a while, since it's been around almost 10 years.
10 years.
We'll
Okay.
say that. Um, but so people who have no idea what it is, I'm going to give like a discrete, like say where it came from and what it's about. There's a man named David Paulides. He is a former police officer, and he then retired him. Became a private investigator. He started writing books about Bigfoot, and he was trying to prove, is Bigfoot real? And he was like investigating he was going from it from an investigator's mindset, not not whether he believed or not. He just wanted to find the facts. And as he started doing this, he stumbled upon this whole other thing, which was which he calls the missing 411 conspiracy. And basically, what it is he believes that people are going missing in and around national parks uh, mysteriously. And um, he's written a number of books about it. He's written it. The original one was Missing 411. The next one was Missing 411, The Hunted. That came out in 2019. And then Missing 411, The UFO Connection came out in 2022. So the original one was 411, that was 2016. And then The Hunted dealt with like kind of, which was more kind of interesting in my mind, was outdoorsmen, like really like hunters and people who had been living in out there, knew how to survive and knew and had all the right equipment, had the tracking stuff, everything, and still were gone. Um, a lot of the cases he has are like toddlers who just went missing, that literally they're out of park with their parents and all of a sudden gone. Uh, and the cases he really looked into were the ones that showed no signs of any kind of real violence. There was no like, blood or anything, or, any kind of like, that would be like, okay, well, obviously an animal attacked or a human did this, um, which, adds some eeriness to it. Um, now, the thing is, I was looking up some more information on it. In his documentary, Missing 411, The Hunted, they said the quote was, as many as 1,200 people have gone missing.
That's what I
Uh,
heard. Yeah.
he has now said that that number is low. It's
Oh,
it's much higher than that now. I don't know how much higher. He's still trying to do the data, but a more recent interview, he said that was old data. It's more than that. Um, One of the interesting things in his research is he tried to get information from the National Park Service on people who have gone missing, and they refuse to give him that information, which I don't understand why they are refusing, other than they want people to go to national parks, and maybe that hurts them by saying, "Oh
right.
yeah, we had
I
50
do think that
people."
part's weird. I read that too, and I thought
Yeah,
that should be there shouldn't be a privacy reason for that.
yeah, but like
Part of the
that's what
invitation.
he was dealing with, is trying to get, the privacy acts, trying to get
Yeah.
like, and maybe those things will you know own up to it. So that's the basic idea. um do you have any thoughts on it at all?
Well, the
On
thing that I heard, and maybe you did it, found this in your research, were these people fitting a profile? Because there's arguments for and against that, and some were saying these happen to be experienced hikers, and people that have maybe like high talent levels or something.
Hmm.
Did you
Oh,
encounter?
yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of them were. I picked out some interesting stories that I can kind of share
yeah.
that the ones that I found interesting. I'm not going to read them verbatim, but basically like so that have happened over the time. But if you want me to share these stories, then we can like
I would love to
see.
hear the stories because I'm trying to figure out like there's folks that'll say, well, statistically it's no greater than the other, but I was interested in the idea of like, are these like a disproportionate number of like math people or engineers or
Yeah.
something, some profession that I don't know what they meant by talent. That was just the claim that was made is like, oh, these people have like good skills or whatever.
Well, I think yeah that what they mean by talent is people who like they do this all the time. Like the rock climbers,
Okay.
they're people who are outdoors that
Right.
know what they're doing. I don't think it's like that they're just good painters or like,
Yeah,
singers.
they have like technical skills. Because I thought the theory was going to be like, oh, they were being abducted by people that like wanted these skills or whatever. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I so like the ones I like the ones that I found a majority were like people who knew what they were doing, but then there are some that it's like just like people that didn't know what they're doing, but
Right.
then when they were found, either alive or dead, they were in a place that if you didn't know what you were doing, how did you get there? Like some
Oh,
of them
okay.
were found in locations where it would take someone that really knew how to rock climb
Right. To get
and
there.
they didn't have the equipment to do it. And yet
Gotcha.
they were somehow on this ledge somewhere. And when the bodies were discovered, it wasn't like they fell to the ledge. There was no
Right.
indication of,
How would they
you
get
know,
there? Yeah.
yeah, broken bones and stuff. So that's why they're like, okay, well, it makes sense that they got there, they fell down there, but wait, no, they
Right.
didn't. It's somehow they climbed down there without shoes, without it's like, so it's very odd. Um,
Let's hear the
now,
story. I'm really curious. Yeah, because I did hear that too, that they were found within a couple miles of wherever they started, right?
yeah,
But in weird spots.
now, no, this first one actually has a happy ending.
Oh, good.
It's a girl named Catherine Van Alst, and this took place in 1946.
Oh, wow.
Uh, Basically, she's 8 years old and was playing with her siblings in the woods near the campsite they're at. Uh, Her family kind of, they're all there together and they kind of walked over here, but she was around the campfire. And then when they came back, she was gone, like
That
just
fast. Yeah.
vanished. It led to a huge search, and they searched for her for 6 days. And they wandered by all wandered by a cave from near where she was, and this was 6 days later, and she comes crawling out of this cave saying, I'm right here. And she has no memory of what happened in those 6 days. All she mentioned to them was, oh, I ate berries and drank water from the cave, and said that she found herself asleep in the cave and she just sort of stayed there. And so she was 8. So she's at the age where, you would think she'd be able to have some recollection. Like I have kids, and at 8, they could tell me what happened, but she
Right.
seemed to not know what happened to her and where she had been for 6 days and how she knew to eat which berries to eat and which ones not, because she survived off of berries she found and water in the cave. And the thing is, the cave where she was found was like about 30 miles from where she went missing.
80
So
miles. That's a
yeah.
long way.
So 6 days had passed and she had managed to go 30 miles in the wrong direction and found herself, but she doesn't remember how she got there,
Yeah.
or she doesn't remember what she says. She remembers falling asleep and then waking up in the cave.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah. So that is her story, but it's happy because she was found alive.
Just now. Yeah.
And so that was one of the older ones. Now the another one that I found was this guy, Randy Morganson, and he was at now. What did I say? Where she was in the Ozarks, St. Francis
Okay.
National Park, Arkansas.
So different.
I
These
want
are not all at the same park.
not all. Yeah, that's so. I picked from different parks. This guy, Randy Morganson, he was at the Sequoia Kings Canyon National Park in California. Um, Now was a park ranger, Randy Morganson. He's a park ranger at this park. He was 27 years old at the time, and he was reported missing on July 21st, 1996. Uh, he had grown up living around Yosemite National Park, and so where he got really interested in it. Um, he was out there, and somehow, uh, despite knowing how to do all this stuff, he just he just vanished and was gone. And then and they searched and searched the area and nobody found him. Then 5 years later, in 2001, at the bottom of a waterfall, uh, they found his remains. Uh, and he was swept underwater, and it didn't really although finding his remains, they didn't close the missing persons case because one of the rangers searched were confused and said that there was a like where they said they had found him kind of differed. One said was at the top water, one at the bottom. So there's confusion on what happened, why there's two different records of where he was found. Now the theories on this one are he was just decided to go off grid and was living there, and then a tragic accident happened. Apparently, is what a lot of people think. But he's another one that like knew what he's doing, but he was gone, and but he left no kind of indication that he wanted to get away from it all. As far as his family knew, he was just going. He was a ranger. He was doing his thing, and then he just decided, hey, I don't want to be a part of society anymore. I don't know.
Right.
That's the but it wasn't a suicide or anything like that. So now we're going to jump back in time to 1977. I was just a 4-year-old boy at this time, but it's not about me.
Right.
This is about Stephen Kubacki,
Kubacki.
which I picked that simply because I like the last
I
name.
do like the name.
Yeah, Stephen Kubacki. He was 24 years old, and he was a cross country skier, and he was going through near Lake Michigan. Uh, Once he reached the lake, he took off his skis to sit and rest. When he got up to leave, his own tracks were gone, and he became lost. The last thing, now this one, they found him alive, I believe. Yeah, the last thing he remembers was walking through the snow, feeling numb and exhausted. He blacked out, and in the blink of an eye, it was spring. He was lying in a grassy field. So this happened, I think, was it December or somewhere around there. So he wakes up in a grassy field in the middle of the forest, wearing clothes that weren't his. Sitting next to him was a stranger's backpack containing running shoes and glasses that did not belong to him either. He hiked to the nearest town and asked a local resident where he was, and they told him he was in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 700 miles away from where he had been skiing. His
That is insane.
yeah,
That is insane.
his aunt and father lived in Pittsfield, so he knocked on his aunt's door. His family was shocked, hugging him and asking where he had been, and because he had been missing not just from like December to spring, he'd been missing over a year for
That's
14
insane.
for
Yeah.
14 months. So when he had first gone missing, the search team found his poles and his skis at the edge of the lake, and there was no signs of footprints anywhere. And so they thought may have gone into the Lake Michigan and drowned. That's what they had suspected. They have no idea. Like there's no explanation for how he got 700 miles
How in the world?
and he has 14 months that he has no recollection of.
That's insane. What does he
Yeah.
remember? Is there anything about what
Nothing. He says he remembers passing out in the snow. He wakes up and he's in a field with a backpack that's not his.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. Now, this one's interesting. This is Maurice Damitz. That was another one because I like the last name.
I like the name. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was in 1981. This Maurice was 84 years old, and he and his buddy David McSweeney went topaz hunting. Damitz had a PhD in theology, and he was wrote a bunch of books about the Antichrist, which isn't anything to do with this, but they drove to
Maybe made
Pike.
somebody mad. I don't
I don't know, yeah.
know.
So they drove to Pike National Forest in Colorado, and they had parked and headed down this little dirt road and were called Topaz Point, and as Native Americans claim it was haunted by evil spirits. The early settlers called it the Devil's Head. Maurice was not, now he couldn't walk real well. He had to use a cane. He was not, they weren't really going for a hike. Like I said, they were going to a specific area to look for topaz. Um, he actually needed his buddy David to help him down the hill, and were in the little area to go digging. They'd been there a while. Then David uh, left Maurice to go get something from the car, and he was only gone for 10 minutes. And when he went back down, all of Maurice's tools were there, but Maurice was gone. Now, this
Well,
was, like I said, an 81-year-old man that needed help getting there.
right.
It was gone. They he honked for him. They ended up having he flagged down a car. They got the police, the authorities. The police searched. The police ended up closing the case, claiming that they did all they could. Damit's wife sent a letter to the governor of Colorado to reopen the case, and she never received a reply. After the 411 documentary came out, they have now reopened the case, which is over 30 years old, on his disappearance, but nobody knows. There was no foul play found of any kind. His digging tools were there, but nothing of his was there. And in a matter of 10 minutes, he went missing with a guy that needed help to get from
Craziness.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, this next one is another weird one.
Oh,
They're
which
they're
part
all
did you
they're
say
all
the
weird.
last one? They're all weird. What was the part for the last one?
The last one was Maurice. This was in the Pike National Forest in Colorado.
Okay.
So,
Because I did look up which parks are most likely to have a missing person. Did you
yeah.
do that list as well? It's kind of
Well,
interesting.
I did look at that, but
Yeah.
I'll let you explain those here in a
Okay.
second.
All right.
I have like just two more stories.
I am excited to hear these. These are all getting weirder
Yeah.
by the minute.
Uh, so so this next one is Danny Philippides. Philippides, another great name. And this was
Names
in
are
two.
awesome.
Yeah, this was in 2018. Actually, I have three
Oh,
more stories, but this because the next one it's interesting. It's not in any of the 411s, but it's an interesting case. But this one is a 411. In 2018, he's a Canadian man, uh, and he was on a ski trip with his friends in New York. At 2 p.m., they had gone skiing for a few hours. They were getting ready to go into the lodge, and Danny said that he wanted to go on one more run down the mountain before their lunch break. By 4 p.m., Danny was failing to return, and he calls or texts, and his friends were concerned. They began searching for him, and after being unable to find him, they told the employees at the lodge he was missing. A team of 130 people scoured the mountain and never found him. 6 days later, Philippides, Philippides is what I'm
I like
Danny.
Philippides. It sounds good.
Philippides. Philippides' wife received a phone call. She didn't recognize the number, and it sounded far away and staticky. It was Danny's voice. He was incoherent and confused and then hung up the phone. She called the number back and pleaded with him to call 911 for help, so he did. He had no idea where he was, and he just described his surroundings. When the paramedics finally found him, he was still wearing all of his ski gear and in need of medical assistance. He was holding a brand new iPhone, and someone had cut off his hair. Somehow he ended up in Sacramento, California at the airport terminal car rental depot. He was 3,000 miles away from where he disappeared,
That is
and he
insane.
doesn't know how he got there.
That is insane.
Yeah. Now, this one is another one. This was Keith Perkins. This is another one of the older ones. And this took place in 1952. He was 2 years old, and his name was Keith. He went missing from his home in Ritter, Oregon in the middle of winter. And he had been playing outside with his jacket, but playing outside with his jacket on, but he was far from equipped to spend the night outside alone. His family and a local search party looked for him immediately. They could follow his tiny footprints up to a point, but they just stopped. And there was no other footprints around. It's like he just stopped walking. There was no animal tracks or adult tracks. 19 hours later, they found Keith. He was about 15 miles away. He had taken off his jacket and was laying face down in the snow on a frozen pond. He was still alive. When they asked him where he had run away or why he had run away and how he survived, he said he didn't remember.
That's bizarre.
So yeah, the fact that he's still alive, that's just
Yeah, it's a miracle.
injury. Now this last one is interesting that this was not on Missing 411, but it's a very weird case. And this guy, Kenny Veach, was an outdoorsman, and he had a YouTube series. You can still find, if you look him up on YouTube, all his videos are still there. Well-known guy who would teach you survival stuff, and he's pretty cool guy. So in 2014, he was in Nevada, and he talked about finding this cave that looked like an M. And he said when he went into the cave, he felt kind of crazy vibrations. The cave was near Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, which isn't far from Area 51. Just so I'm putting some little spin on it.
Yeah.
So Kenny Beach is like, he's there, and he says there's this weird cave. He said when he went in, he felt weird vibrations all over his body, and he didn't know what was going on, and it freaked him out, and he left. So people kind of gave him a hard time because he didn't videotape the cave or what happened, or he just said he had no footage of it. So people were giving him crap about it, like, oh, dude, you're just making crap up about it.
Yeah.
So he decided that, okay, I'm going to go back and find the cave again. And he searched, took him a few tries to find this cave again. Then finally, it was November 10th, 2014. It was his last attempt. And he told him, this is going to be my last attempt. I'm going to go find this cave.
Yeah.
And he's never come back.
Oh, wow.
Just gone.
Just gone. These people, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, of those stories, I think the weirdest one is the 3,000 miles away, and the one that had the shaved head or whatever.
Yeah.
That is truly bizarre. Like
now you said that you had some of the like that. What were the parks that had the most disappearances?
So the top 7, that's what I found. So the 7th is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. But only 5 reported cases since 1934. So these are like all starting in the 1930s, basically.
Okay.
But it's got like 500,000 acres, so you can get lost in that, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's one in West Virginia. So this is the New River Gorge National Park. It's number 6, and they have 8 cases.
Wow.
They first started in 1977, so it hasn't been going on for too long.
Okay.
But that's pretty big. It's like,
so we should go camping there. That's not far from us.
Yeah, we should do it. Very close to Middle Earth. Rocky Mountain National Park is number 5 with 10 cases since 1933. Never been to the Rocky Mountains? They're about a little less, like 400,000 square miles, a little less than 500,000. Then Yellowstone, very popular. Now this one is odd to me because as popular as it is, only 12 documented cases since 1900.
Yeah, but what is the national parks hiding from us?
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And what about the Dalton family? Who are they, burying out there in Yellowstone? Because that's a documentary, not a fictional show.
All right, I got to learn about is it the Dalton family?
That's a TV show, Yellowstone.
Yeah. Oh,
that's a TV show, Yellowstone.
Gotcha. That's a documentary. Yes.
Yeah,
totally.
that's not a documentary. It's not a documentary. But all right.
I thought you were for real for a second. I was like, wow.
Wait, what's the Daltons? So yeah.
So number 3, Yosemite, 33 reported cases.
Ooh, now we're going up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's since 2017. So they started that clock more recently.
Oh wow.
Mount Rainier National Park is
Okay.
400, so we jump up a lot. So there's
Ooh.
400 for that.
Now, see, that one I could see because, well, I mean, if you're going to Mount Rainier, you're climbing the mountain.
Yeah, you're climbing the mountain. Yeah, that one makes
And
sense.
there are like kind of like my brother-in-law has climbed that a number of times. And
Yeah,
he says if you go in the wintertime stuff, there are glacial things you have to cross. So if you fall into a crevasse,
right.
you're
Oh,
you're
crevasse.
you're you're gone.
I think it's the French words for things are what's gobbling people up. It's probably the
Yeah.
French behind it.
Yeah, the French are probably a part of this.
Yeah, I
They
definitely
act
think
all
so.
like, "Oh, look at us, we have croissants," but
Right.
yeah,
Like, yeah, get your buttery bread, but we'll take
yeah,
people. So number
yeah.
one, here's the drum roll. I'll even say it in French. The Grande Canyon National Park. I don't know.
Grande Canyon,
Yeah, I don't know if
nice.
that's how I order coffee like at Starbucks. I don't know if that's the French.
Yeah.
It's over 1,100 cases.
See, so that
That's a
that
lot.
definitely because he said in the movie 1200. I mean, the Grand Canyon has 1100 all by itself. Now,
Yeah.
we will have to get into the Grand Canyon conspiracy at some point
Well, I'm
because
excited.
I don't know if you know about that, but there's some wild Grand Canyon stuff going on
Oh,
because there is, and you can look it up. There are parts of the Grand Canyon that are off limits for people to go into.
why are they off limits? Is that where
I
they're
don't know.
keeping the
I don't.
1,100 people that are missing? I mean,
I
this
don't know, but I mean, there's a conspiracy about it, and we'll get into it. It involves. I don't want to get into what it involves because we'll get to that eventually. But
it's a whole show. We can't
it is
spoil
a whole show.
it. Yeah.
Like we'll have to get into the Grand Canyon conspiracy, the Grand Conspiracy of the Canyon. So
Oh, even
that's
better.
what we'll. But but yeah, so that's interesting that they are the number one because
They
there's a
are.
whole other conspiracy
Yeah, because
about
it's got a
them.
whole thing attached to it. I mean, it's very weird. It's like concentrated in those top two, right? And
Yeah.
one is like snowy and one is the opposite. It's like just a canyon with, out much vegetation. So I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't know what it
So
means.
so what do you think's going on in
I
your
have
mind?
no idea. I think some of them could be some of the cases where they are found relatively close, like maybe they had
Hmm.
a mental episode or something like that.
Hmm.
The one that blows my mind is the 3,000-mile one, and there's the other one was like 700 miles, where
Yeah.
people going long distances does not make any sense to me.
Well, and especially the one that was only, I mean, only 700 miles, but that
Yeah,
was 14 months
yeah,
that he was gone and he
yeah,
cannot recollect how
yeah,
or where he was. He has no idea.
yeah,
Like the 3,000 mile one, you can almost get because there's only a couple, I mean, I think it's 6 days or something.
yeah.
But I mean, you could say, okay, maybe he was drugged for 6 days, but you can't drug someone for 14 months and they still be alive.
Right. No,
It's
it
like
doesn't make any sense.
you can't roofie someone for 14 months.
Right,
I
right.
don't think that's possible.
I don't think that's possible either. So that I have no idea. Like we
Yeah.
now you got to go into sort of,
Now I
crazy.
do.
So either
I,
someone's like capturing these people and drugging them
well,
or something. I don't
well,
know.
I do have now. I do have the theories that
Yeah.
I've looked up.
Oh,
What the theories are behind it, and uh, some of the first theory is a mystery animal is taking them. That is predatory, and this is where it falls into Bigfoot
yeah.
because some people claim to have seen Sasquatch or Bigfoot in the areas.
Gotcha.
And
Mhm.
so they fall into that. And whichever one we are going to dive into Bigfoot theory next week.
Excited for
That's
them.
because see, that's why it kind of flowed with like 411, because that's one of the theories is that Bigfoot is taking people.
Yeah.
Why I don't know.
Or
Maybe because
Littlefoot. Maybe Bigfoot's
maybe
cousin. Yeah.
yeah, well, because he's probably like, you guys keep taking blurry pictures of me. I'm sick of it. Get good cameras. And so he's not going to give them back till we get good pictures.
Right. That's
So
true. He's very vain. Bigfoot's known for the
yeah,
vanity.
yeah. Well, and he's probably also upset that we call him Bigfoot. He's like, I have other features, you know.
Right.
It's
Just don't
like,
reduce me down to
yeah,
this
why
one
not? Why,
thing.
yeah, why not hairy man? You know,
Right.
you know, and my feet aren't that big. I've seen bigger ones.
Right.
So
And from the right
yeah,
angle, I'm sure Bigfoot looks very slender. So,
yeah, and he's probably not probably very like for his species, probably good looking guy.
well, yeah, exactly.
And then
So
we
we're
and
sorry, Bigfoot, for all the
yeah,
insults.
yeah, exactly. And your big and a lot of the things are that he smells bad. like
Right.
so his bad hygiene. But
But maybe
so
that's how he wants to smell. We shouldn't
yeah,
judge.
and
I don't.
maybe it attracts the mama foot.
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
mama foots. Have we ever seen the mama foot? That's the thing. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's a sighting that people see. Maybe mama's even blurrier. I don't know.
yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't know, but there has to be a mama. If there's a one, you
You
got to
would
have.
think.
Yeah, I don't know. Another is, and this is a fun one, is dimensional shift,
Oh,
where people, this is like basically that there's like portals or wormholes or whatever on the earth.
oh,
And this explains why people disappear from one spot and then show up somewhere else. And for them, it was like in an instant. And like that guy thought he fell asleep, woke up, and it'd been 14 months, or the guy that went 3,000 miles. Some of the other ones I didn't do. There was a little boy who was like 7,
mhm.
and he went from, it was another one like that one that was 30 miles, uh, but it was like 30, 40 miles over a mountain. And he had to get up over this mountain to the other side, and he was found on a cliff.
That's insane.
And
Yeah,
no, and they're like, to get to that cliff, he would have to have ropes and know how to climb a mountain.
yeah.
And to get there, also, his body showed no signs of fall, like, broken bones,
Right.
hematomas, or anything. Like, so he
Yeah.
wasn't
Well,
thrown down there, fell down there.
yeah,
But how did he get up over the mountain to that area anyway?
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's way too far for a little person. Like that's
yeah.
no way.
Now, another theory is the serial killer theory, that there's a guy stalking, or a group of people stalking folks in national forest. The only thing with that is, what do you do with the ones where you have survivors? Like,
Right. Doesn't make sense.
and usually at some point serial killers do stuff to try and be like, look at me.
Right. And I
Uh
don't think they really are.
yeah, they
And
don't
there's
really
no
ever.
like it's different parts a lot of the time, right? That's
Yeah, and
not
they're all, and there have been some that have happened within days of each other, and for one person to be doing that, it would be almost, unless they're flying, you
right.
know, you know, but like, it would be near impossible. And then what are they doing with, why? Like I said, most serial killers they leave some kind of hint, like
Right.
they are a manifesto of some kind out there,
Yeah.
that I'm doing this, or you know, or they like, most of them are trying to play a game.
Right.
But
Exactly. There's something to it versus no real signs of anything. There's no real pattern, I think, from what you're telling me in the story. It's like they
yeah,
just
it's all
appear.
different ages, all
Yeah.
male, female. Some
Yeah.
are like super experienced, some no experience, some are little kids that just vanish. And I
Yeah.
found it interesting that a lot of times the little kids who vanish are found alive.
Yes.
And they're found way far away from each other, where they were, and they can't remember what happened or how. Um, and some are not found alive, but a lot of them, like that little boy found on the frozen pond, the fact that he was still alive without his coat, it makes you almost think someone had him for a day or two, and then just put him there and left him there, knowing that they were coming to search. And so, but why? We don't know.
Yeah. What's the motivation for any of this? I mean,
Yeah.
it's bizarre.
Yeah. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
this
I
is
really
just
don't.
a,
I mean, I can understand why people would reach for kind of a supernatural explanation because they're so bizarre. Like,
yeah.
why? Yeah, traveling large distances for no reason, and your hair cut off, and given a new backpack, and
Yeah.
like any sense to me.
In a brand new iPhone. I
Yeah,
mean,
brand new iPhone. That's weird.
that
Yeah,
is weird. And like on that one, I was wondering, like, well, I guess you can buy phones at that time. I remember you could go to Walmart and buy an iPhone, and it had a pre-done number. Because I was
um,
trying to wonder, didn't you'd have to like register it? So I was like,
right.
but then I thought about, like, oh wait, I think you can still do it, where you can just go buy an
You get like a
iPhone, like with,
pre-done. Yeah,
yeah, like a prepaid thing, and you don't have to have your name or anything attached to it.
right.
So that could be a case of, I think some people thought he was kidnapped,
Yeah,
but then again, why?
Right.
and there was no ransom asked for him. Like, is it just someone who kidnaps people for fun?
Fun.
Like,
There's no reason.
hey, I'm just kidnapping you and then I'm gonna let you go 3,000 miles away in California.
And buy you
And
like a $1,000 iPhone or
yeah,
whatever,
and
I'm
here's a
sure.
new iPhone for your trouble, you
Yeah.
know. And
Did they do any research on the iPhone? I'm curious about that. Like,
as far as I know, they said there was no one connected to it and they couldn't figure out like and he didn't know where he got it.
yeah.
He was an Android user. No, I'm just kidding. I have no
He's
idea.
like, I don't even like this phone.
Yeah, I hate it. No. And so so that was just I thought those were the like I mean they're all the stories are bizarre and interesting, but I thought those were like some because they were just very different. Each one was a different. A lot of them have kind of not really a pattern, but just similar. Like
Yeah.
person goes missing, they find their clothes, don't find them, or
Right.
and a lot of them also are the people search the area, find nothing, then 6 7 days, even like 8 months later, they find the remains in that area
Right.
and they're like, we searched this area.
Right.
How it's like almost as though something or someone is toying with them.
Right.
And like, oh, you thought you searched the area. And it's not like that. And they're never hidden. It's not like under a log or they're just
Right.
laid
They're
out.
just out in
Like
the
they're
open.
there, like, wait,
Yeah.
there they were the whole time.
I
And
mean,
there's
unless
no,
they were so far out of the search area and then they came back, and I mean, I could see that, but it
yeah,
depends on. I mean, sometimes they search like large areas too, right?
yeah,
So yeah, it's bizarre. No, it's confounding. It actually frustrates me. I don't like not being able to resolve stuff and find like a rational reason, right? And
yeah.
geez, like you can't. I mean, there's no the distances, the ones involved in large distances. I don't get that. That's
Yeah.
really
Now, when you were looking over here, did you come across any of the stories, or were you just looking at the?
I did. I was looking at the stats mostly. I was trying to just see if there was an unusual pattern of like going missing there versus going missing like in general society. And it doesn't
Yeah,
seem like there was, at least from some of the sources I said. But also, people going missing in normal society usually don't have that weird of a thing where you're like found hundreds of miles away.
yeah,
That's the kicker for me. I don't get that part. I
yeah.
don't get
The
that.
ones where they find them alive are the ones
Yes.
that are real to me, like because they none of the people that are found alive can remember what happened to them.
Right.
And I
That's the
think
common thing, right? That's the
yeah,
common thing they can't remember, which is so bizarre.
yeah.
Why can't you
What?
remember?
And,
Like,
oh yeah, one of the other series is Aliens. I forgot. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You
Which I
have
guess
to
we go with
put
the wormhole theory and
yeah. So you got it. Those aliens who just like stealing people.
right.
And I
Just
don't know
bored.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the serial killer one also falls into, I don't know if you've heard of the smiley face killer. Have you ever heard of
I've
that
heard of that, but I
theory?
don't know what it is. Yeah.
All right. We'll have to, that's another, another
It's so much. I'm learning so
conspiracy.
much. Like, this is
Yeah.
great.
Like, so that's another one. Like when I read this here, I thought about that. And then when like, cause I was going to go more deeper into that one, but I was like, no, that needs to be its own show. But also none of the 411 deaths or when they were found, they didn't find the stuff that has to do with it because I was like, I was wondering, do they cross over at all? And they didn't
Right.
seem to, because my face colors, it doesn't seem to be similar to. They're not in national parks, but I was looking into that at one point because like I wonder if they're connected in any way, but I couldn't find a connection.
Yeah.
But because like when I saw the serial killer theory, I was like, oh, I wonder, and then nope, didn't
Oh,
pan out.
I've seen.
But one of the theories I said is Bigfoot, Sasquatch taking people for whatever reason,
I
which
think
is, you know,
investigations warranted on the Bigfoot. I think you're
yeah,
gonna have to
which
do
is
that.
we're gonna have to look into who
Yeah.
Bigfoot is, what people say Bigfoot is, and we're gonna dive into that next week.
This is gonna be good. Because
Yeah.
maybe what if we're the first to solve 411 through Bigfoot?
Ooh,
Like
that'd be amazing. David Paulides would probably be angry
he
if
would
we
be
figure.
angry. He
I
wrote
don't know that
several
he
books.
may not be angry about it because I think he just wants to find the truth, but I
Yeah,
think he wants to be the one that figures it out.
I think
And
so. I would be upset because he needs
yeah,
the
then
third book, doesn't he? Hasn't he done like two books or
yeah,
something?
he's done three books, I think. He
Oh,
needs to
okay.
do a fourth, and he probably doesn't want to be missing for one solved by podcast yahoos. That
Right.
would be the
That
title
would
of the
be the
book.
word.
Yeah.
What if we just if we keep going with this podcast, eventually we'll solve it all, right? And
Yeah.
they'll all be connected, I'm sure. It'll be like the Marvel universe or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We'll
So,
call it the counter to intelligence expanded universe.
oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. We'll
Yeah.
have to start, yeah, we'll start getting sponsors, like, coming up with the Bigfoot area and the, I don't know, drone area, like you have
Yeah.
different,
We'll have
yeah.
to get like, a Squatch, Dr. Squatch soap to
Oh, I like it.
sponsor us. And then like maybe Harry's razor blades because it fits because Bigfoot's hairy. And then, I don't know what else.
We'll come up with it. Sponsors,
Yeah.
potential sponsors, if you're listening, just
Yeah.
contact us at the site. Let us
Yeah.
know
And
what you
then
want.
we'll do like in the Truman Show every now and then we'll just stop and be like, this is it, and like I always like looking for missing people on my Android, so
I love it.
but
Well,
that's why I did Android because none of the people who went missing were given an Android. They were given iPhone. So maybe it's an Apple thing.
I,
Maybe Apple kidnaps people.
yeah, kids
Yeah.
stay safe, right? Get an Android and Google, if you're listening, just contact us about this sponsorship
Yeah.
dollars. So,
Yeah, Google Pixel phones. Because
yeah,
no
Pixel.
one that went missing was found with a Google Pixel phone.
Yeah, they wouldn't mess with the Google Pixel. It's like
Yeah.
self-defense built into a
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah. It's like you don't want to mess with that. Like Google and then and I don't think anyone was in a Tesla when any of this happened.
That's
So
true. We could
maybe,
sell Tesla
maybe,
through this.
maybe we need a Tesla and we can get a counter to intelligence wrap around it.
Oh, I
I
like it.
think I'm sure Elon listens to our show as he audits companies.
He
Like,
probably is going to find so much money he could fund, right? Like an investment in counter to intelligence, two Cybertrucks or several cars, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Whatever he thinks.
I think two Cybertrucks, and then
Yeah.
that'd be fine. I'd be fine with that. I don't need more than two. I mean,
Right.
I don't need more than one because you would have the other one.
I
So
was
I don't
thinking,
need more
yeah,
than one.
if you don't
I,
mind, I'll
I,
take
I
one
was,
of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was acting kind of greedy there. Like, yeah,
Well, I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, it's important because, the Fedora, museum might need a Cybertruck in there for to
well, I
deal with
mean,
the Cybertruck conspiracy. If we solve it, maybe Elon is gonna
yeah.
give us a
Well,
truck.
I think we need to talk to Elon and be like, you have a lot of money. Giving away two Cybertrucks to us isn't going to hurt you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like even though they're weird looking, they're kind of fun.
They
You know,
are fun. I've been in one and they
have
are
you?
definitely weird and fun. That's definitely
Yeah.
they're
I
basically a conspiracy theory as a truck, right?
so
Weird.
I would have to do the wrap because I don't like the silver or the steel look.
Okay.
I would have to do a wrap on or get the black. I've seen a couple black Cybertrucks,
That would
which
be
were
cool.
pretty cool looking. It's kind of, and I'd probably want the little red thing on the front, so it's like Knight Rider. Yeah,
We definitely need a Knight Rider. Kids today don't get that, by the way. They
yeah.
don't get the Knight Rider reference. They
And the fact that Tesla is doing basically its kit inside there, it's all computer,
yeah,
and basically he made Knight Rider's car. Basically, the Cybertruck is Knight Rider
it
because
is
it's
Knight Rider.
bulletproof.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a sports car, but it's bulletproof and it has a computer that controls everything. It's kit. It's
Yeah.
Knight
Why
Rider.
is no one making like the A-Team van or like the Scooby-Doo van? I feel like those need to be.
Oh, we could if we got our Cybertrucks, we could wrap them to look like those.
Do it.
You could be the Scooby Doo one. I'll let
I
you
can
have
do
that one.
Scooby-Doo. I could totally.
I'll do the 18.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I'm sure your wife would be like, we are not riding in the Scooby Doo Cybertruck.
It's the Mystery Machine. I mean, that would
Yeah,
be a great promo for this show.
yeah, exactly. That'd be amazing. So I mean, those are the theory. I don't know which one I believe on any of them. I don't. I'm confused by this one. I don't. I think something weird's happening, but I don't know what,
Yeah.
and I don't know why.
I don't know why.
So
I know that for your protection, Android,
yeah,
don't visit the park or take your Android
yeah.
and you'll be
But
okay.
see, I don't want to say don't visit the parks because the parks are amazing,
They are awesome.
and if you look at how many people go per year
Right.
versus just don't go to apparently the Grand Canyon
Right. That one's
because
a problem.
that's a problem. And I've already been there and I made it out.
Oh,
So
congratulations on
yeah,
that.
I actually
Do
went
you
hiking
remember
down
it?
it.
You remember the trip
Mhm.
or do you have
Yeah.
missing
Oh, I
time?
do.
Right. It was all good.
I had some scary memories of it, but not that anything really bad happened. it was just, I just remember because I have a fear of heights,
Yeah.
and I just remember going down the path trail, and you would look over the edge. Like I was too young to go on the donkeys, so my dad and I and mom and sister were just walking down it, and my sister was way more braver than me, and she'd be right at the edge, and I would just like look over, and it was like a sheer drop. It was like in some of those places, you're just like seeing a like hundreds of feet down. And I
Wow.
was just like, and my sister like, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'd be pulling away from the edge, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I was against the wall
yeah.
as we went down it, and I was like right next to it. And but some of it was only like 3 feet wide, the walkway.
Oh, that's,
Some of it
yeah.
was it got wider, but then some of it was only three, and I was just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is
I
this is
don't think I want to
scary.
do that. A nice picture from up high. Maybe I could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And the thing is, we didn't make it all the way down. We got halfway, and then we never got the satisfaction of being at the bottom because it was out. It's hours walk. Like it's a long walk.
Oh, wow.
So
Well, it's like
long.
so it's a couple miles down, I'm
Yeah. Oh
guessing.
yeah. It's a couple miles to get because it goes down and then it kind of turns back this way and goes back and forth. But like I say, you look down and and it's like it's a big drop, and you're like, ah. So yeah, so it was scary. That's my memory. And I didn't know like at that time, I didn't know any of the theories or scary stuff about the Grand Canyon, other than that's a big drop.
Yeah. I mean, that was the only fear you needed, though.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have
Now
the
they have a
drop
little,
plus the abductions,
yeah. Well, now they even have this walkway that's glass or something you can walk out on, and you're like over the drop, which is like another why. Um,
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Nope.
no, like, well, it's really thick glass. I'm like, I don't care. It's
Yeah.
glass.
It's
Uh,
glass. I don't, and I should not see nothing under me other than, thousands of feet and then ground.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's not safe.
Yeah.
But I guess we can put this theory to bed. We did not answer it, but we've given it out there so people can start searching for it. Maybe they have answers,
I think we're the catalyst for solving
Yeah.
these, right? No
Yeah.
one else other than this show, us alone can fix it. I think
Yeah.
that's the motto. And yeah, we will inspire others to go and do their investigations and figure it out. And then
Exactly.
contact the show and be like, oh, by the way, we
I
solved.
solved it.
Yeah.
And we do not have a viewer question this week. I did not get one. Because I think this is kind of an obscure one, but maybe Bigfoot, that's not as obscure. Maybe and like I said, if you have a question, please send it to us. We will answer your questions. Uh, and you can click on the link on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, and there's a way to email your question to us. And we've had a viewer question before, so
So what
you
will
know,
not be unprecedented. And we have seen an increase, right, in viewership.
yeah, we're increasing. Actually, right before I got on, I saw that our last episode had 75 listens on
Okay.
day one.
Yeah,
So that was a new record for us, which, yeah, it's not bad. Day
that's
one.
pretty good for
So
day
that was
one.
like day one was 75 listens.
Yeah.
So that was the podcast. I haven't seen the analytics on YouTube, but whatever. And we're slow. That's a big jump.
We're
So
getting there. Well, as the counter to intelligence expanded sat universe, keeps
yeah,
expanding, people will kind of fit the pieces together. So it'll be good. That will
true. Yeah,
increase our readership.
then people will make lore about us, and they'll make fan fiction. Uh,
If we get fan fiction, we'll definitely have the fan fiction on. We should.
yeah.
If you are sitting there listening, thinking, should I do fan fiction? The answer is yes. That's
Yes,
what
do
I
some
say.
fan fiction about us investigating these things. And
Right.
I would like if you send it to us, we will read it. We may even act it out. If you
Oh,
write it up as
yeah.
a script, we will play our parts.
We will.
And
We could even recruit other actors and actresses to do
yeah,
this.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
we know people, so we could do.
Yeah, and I have sound effects and everything. We'll make it legit. So there you go.
That's
So
our
that's out
offer.
there. So if you're out there and you want to do it, send it to us. We will make something happen of it. It'll be phenomenal.
It will be.
But there, I think we've done it again. Another fantastic show.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't be any better. I'm excited for the next one on
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Yeah. Bigfoot is next week and we will get to it. So until then. Everybody have a good week. See
All
ya.
right. See ya.